I want to say, first of all, I'm amazed that you're writing about Hagwon. It's kind of one of these shady secrets that Koreans have.
I like Hagwons.
Yeah. So, and I will come out and say for the first time in front of a public audience, I attended Hagwon when I was 5 years old and going forward until probably...
Your mom was just trying to show her support.
Yeah, but in the American culture in which we operate, this idea, this ethnically inflected, private, after-school venues in which Asians go to do more than what they do in school, right? And probably in these windowless rooms, in basements, so that they can pass these standardized tests and, in fact, score as well as they possibly can, right? There is something very, I think, stigmatized in our culture about that phenomenon.
In Western culture.
Yeah.
In Korea, it's really normal. Like if you didn't send your kid to Hagwon, you'd be a weirdo.
Yeah. But in the United States, it's not something that even as a person who's a member of an elite university, a faculty member, a student, it's not something you openly bandy about as something you're proud of.
Oh.
And I just think that it's really amazing that you're writing about this because we need to know more about what is up with these Hagwon and how do they fit into our Korean American, Asian American, and just American educational landscape. What do they mean? What are they about? What is the stigma around them? And what is it that makes them just kind of vexing phenomena?
Well, I actually like Hagwons, and the more I study them, the more I like them. And it's kind of curious because you would think that I would dislike them, but I've met so many people who've gone to Hagwons all their lives, and now I realize it's not just for studying. It's actually almost like a community center.
For sure.
It also serves as a daycare function, which is really important to recognize for working women and working men. So when I was just recently in Los Angeles, I went to this entire area where you have all these strip malls, and then you have, like, let's say the pizza store, the drugstore, and you'll have this weird-looking building, and it'll have kind of blacked-out windows with children looking sort of happy, but I don't know. And then there'll be all these buses in the front. And it turns out that these buses pick up the children after school and bring them back in, and the kids stay at these Hagwons from 3 o'clock until, let's say, 6:30 until their parents pick them up. And the parents pay about $300 a month. And that means that if the parent is working when the school is off, for public school especially, well, what's a working parent to do? And we know that in this country, we don't have daycare. So I was actually quite happy with it. And these kids were not studying a lot, especially the ones in LA. I mean, they were not studying. They were, chatting.
I, too, used to play hooky from Hagwon.
Right.
Yeah.
I met some really impressive people in London when I was doing field work, and I said, so did you go to Hagwon? And this, very attractive Korean man who's like in his 30s. I mean, you would hire him in like a minute. And I said, so did you go to Hagwon? He's like, yeah. And I said, did you like them? He's like, I love them. And I said, why? And he said, well, because on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I would play hooky. And I would see all my friends. And we would go to PC bongs, and we would just basically play video games and eat tteokbokki. And I was like, okay, I get it. And it turned out that the teachers would sort of turn a blind eye because they knew that these kids needed a break. And then I realized, these are very human institutions. So we have all this kind of data like, oh, kids study 18 hours a day. And some kids are studying 18 hours a day, absolutely. But for the most part, there's a lot of hooky.